Yo, Charles, man, yo, Charles at the ending was just funny to me. He just standing there, he looking like he feels so insignificant. He just feels like less than a man because you see the doctor coming in there, basically delivering like Lewanda's baby, and he just like looking at how Lucia is staring at him. He like, nah, man, that's my wife, man. Again, I liked how he said it in the beginning where he was just like, when he was with Lucia, he was just like, well, technically the best man won, but it's like, you know, when a female is constantly still thinking about that other guy, it's just like, well, you know, stuff does happen though. Stuff kind of does happen where she just like she be thinking about the other guy. It'd be scary sometimes when you think about it like that. But I mean, Charles did it to himself. He kind of like did it to himself. But I mean, so far for this episode, it was interesting, but it was light because again we got to see some more interesting things develop with like Meech's story. With now you had like Greeny and some of his other guys that got picked up. Well, mainly Greeny basically, you know, I guess told, law enforcement that, well, technically Meech was the one to have killed, I guess, the guy from the last season, even though Goldie did it, but it was like, he said, no, basically Meech did it. So now Meech is going to have to figure out like a plan to like get everything situated and cleared up so that way everybody can, you know, make more money again. And then you see like in the beginning where like Meech showed up for like Milton's funeral, and he was like there with like Remy. Yeah, Remy Ransom. I always be forgetting his doggone name, but you know, he showed up at the funeral, and that's when he was trying to like pay his condolences, and that's when Remy was just like, nah, man, it's on site. When I see that, they'll go again, it's on site. But then, you know, his friend Sterling, he was just like, because again, like Meech was basically trying to like form something where he's like, you know, you kill your best friend, you take over, right? And then that's when everybody can make money, because you always have those types of situations where a guy's always in his own head, where he's just like, no, what he's doing is right, but he's killing everybody, he's getting everybody killed. So that's when Meech was just like, no, like if this deal happens, then we can all make money together. His stuff is the best, and everybody could be under one roof, and it's this partnership is basically for life, for life. And so I was just like, okay, right. Because it's crazy, because it was like, yeah, everybody had like a funeral this season. Well, this episode, I should say. Because Meech lost people. They lost Rip, right? Brian lost his son, Kevin, right? And then I guess Terry lost whoever, I guess somebody within that crew space, right? That he lost as well. And then that's when like Brian shows up, and he's just like, nah, man, my son don't belong on the ground. Terry like, nah, man, we grieving over here too. And then he pushes him into the grave and kicks dirt on him. I was like, yo, how you gonna do that? How you just gonna sit there and do? I mean, again, you know, Brian was basically grieving after the death of his son, so it's fair. But I like how in the like later on, like he tries to kill Henri. Like he's pissed, and then Henri was kind of shook a little bit because this man came in, but then you see like Frank, he was standing on the side with the gun, and he was just like, nah, man, put this down, man. Like you ain't gonna kill my daughter. If you do this, then you gonna be next to your son. So he's just like, nah, we're gonna take care of this. And they basically lump up Brian. They lump him up because it's like you see him like at the police station with Jen, and that's when I guess like the police captain or the police commissioner or whatever was trying to like figure out what was the story, what was going on. And then he was just like, man, I'm so sick of your lies, you're fired. So he's just like, cool. He walks away. Then he talks to Jen, and then that's when Jen has to explain about, you know, what happened, the shooting, and did they see anybody. They both said no, but that's when he was just like, oh, give me a badge, because he was like, you know, Brian's a bad apple and you hanging around them, so give me a badge. So, you know, she's heartbroken, because it was like Colby was like literally a sister, a second sister to her, but it was just like that kind of got taken away from her. Because I mean, you sort of blame Brian for this though, because he showed up at the house not knowing he was being followed. So it was just like you can sort of blame him for her death though. So I kind of wonder what that story is going to be like in the next episode, right? And then we got Terry, right? Terry is trying to like squash the beef with Henri, but Henry's not hearing any of that. It was just like she's like, no, man, like fuck you and then BMF. I want to squash you all. And then we see like I guess at this banquet thing where Frank was talking to her, he was just like, man, you need to dead this. But then she finds out that one of her subordinates is basically, I guess, jumping ship to Terry, and she was just like, oh nah, that's just. And she was as she said, as she was about to what was it? Oh, as she was about to, I guess, start forgiving people or whatever, or about to journey on to the trip of forgiveness, she has a flamethrower. This crazy Blade chick has a flamethrower, and she's burning people. I was like, huh? I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm telling you, man, she just gives off this Blade vibe to me, man. Like, she's just with swords and shit and flamethrowers. I'm like, ugh. Like I kind of want her. I want her going, man. She pissed me off. Henri pissed me off because she kind of remind me of Blade, but it's just Now, I do like how I guess older Meech was explaining about like I guess like the racism that was going on with like I guess like the state line where I guess like somebody passed like a bill I think even in the 80s. And then I think another bill in the 30s or 40s about like segregating like house homes. Now that is true. That is so true because it's like when you look at state lines in different states or whatever, and it was just like the white homes versus the black homes and the projects versus like a suburban area or a nice area, and it was just like that's how it was like structured, right? I can fully agree to that because it was like back in the 60s, I believe. Or even longer, where it was just like when it came down to like getting loans from the bank, they would like redline you or whatever. Like black people couldn't get money, like especially if you trying to like start up a business or whatever. They was like telling you, nah, man, like we Armstrong and you, like you're not getting this money or whatever. But if a white person came in there and said, oh, I want to do like a business or whatever, or have a business, then it was easy for them to get the money compared to like black people where they wasn't doing any of that. So I like how they throw like a touch, like a hint of history into this because it's true, especially with the whole Red Dog situation where if they Red Dogs, which Meech kind of like had a encounter with this episode where they can just jack you up. There is no you have your rights. Forget your rights. Forget your First Amendment. You forget your First Amendment or Second Amendment, whichever amendment it is. I think it's the first or second one, but they just like, we don't care. We're just gonna jack you up. We're just gonna, do what we like. And I'm just like, okay, sprinkling a hint of truth. Now, to be honest, I don't know if the Red Dogs actually still exist to this day. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's probably like abolished. But who knows? It's probably still active to this day because I mean, when you look at the things that happened in the past, it was quite like wild times. Even to this day, when like the whole redlining when it came down to like certain areas or whatever. I mean, that still remained intact though, but it's more device than it was back then because it's just like if you're a black person, you can really live anywhere that you want in the country. It's not like you're segregated. Now, if there are any like sort of, well, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised. But again, if there was anything, then there'd be much more talk about it. But I mean, the damages is kind of like already done, and most of that stuff was irreversible. So, but overall, this episode was pretty good. Because it was just like now Meech and Terry is gonna have to like figure a way of handling their own sorts of problems because it's just like Terry is trying to figure a way of because he wants to have peace, but it's just like Henry's not gonna allow that for him, and Meech is trying to figure out the whole law enforcement business and how to like manage and deal with things, and also figure a way of getting rid of Raimi. Because Raimi is the problem as well because it's just like he's not trying to like stand down on anything, and he has to go in order for them to all like make money and everybody to like get along. Because I guess from when his friend was explaining that, I guess most people in ATL don't really like him like that or whatever, but it's just like it's more of the reason for him to go. So it's just like, it only makes sense because the story has to progress even further on to, I guess, well, mainly Meech going to like California because that's what I really want to see more of. Like ATL was fine. I like the stuff that's going on there, but I really want to see more of him like expanding and him eventually going to California for like a little bit. That's what I'm like more interested about, and then him returning back to like Atlanta, and then maybe Texas, because I think he goes to Texas for a little while too, or Florida. It was one of those things too. But overall, this episode was like pretty clean. I can't wait for the next episode. But comment down below what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I catch you all in the next one.